And I think that's a message to us, that we need to be out among the marginalized, among the poor, and to care for them. There is enough love to go around.
Enough love to go around. Indeed, there is. I'm Tricia Blair, and welcome to this first episode of They Might Be Angels, where we explore the concept of angels, what they might be, and what we'd like them to be. Some future guests will be people who've experienced things that can only be described as supernatural, with no explanation for an interruption in logic. Something mysterious happened that resulted in a favorable outcome when it seemed the opposite would have been more likely. Someone told me that an angel appeared to her when she was a child. She woke up one night and saw this breathtaking being in front of her that she described as having glorious wings, draped in some type of glowing, flowing garment, illuminating light everywhere. And she absolutely knew it was an angel. And I absolutely believe her experience, but to be honest, I was a little envious. All I could say was, wow, your angel sounds like something straight out of central casting, or even AI generated. I mean, wouldn't we all like to have visions like that? But in the meantime, let's think about the people we know who do so much to uplift others. To those in need, their good works feel heaven sent. Now, Lord knows I'm no theologian, but I've done enough Googling to know that just about every major religion has some version of angelic entities that serve as connectors between us mere humans and something more divine. My guest today is someone who follows a Christian path in a really big way. He's the Reverend Mark Andrew Jones, Rector of St. Nicholas Episcopal Church in Pompano Beach, Florida. Although Father Mark Andrew was very clear that he didn't want to be referred to as any angel, this non-angel has orchestrated a band of other non-angels who bring hope and nourishment to thousands of people every year in this community. Father Mark Andrew, it's great to see you again, and thank you for speaking with me. Though you only agreed to be featured as a guest angel for this podcast and blog, if I promise not to label you as any kind of an angel, but I use a very fluid definition of who or what that might be, and I like to think of angels in terms of function rather than form. What is your definition of an angel?
Well, when I hear that term, there are two concepts that come to mind. The first is the more traditional concept of a messenger from God. And the second is one of a person who is just extraordinarily virtuous. I'm neither an angelic messenger of God nor extraordinarily virtuous, so that's why I don't necessarily apply that term to me.
Before you became an Episcopal priest, your early clerical path was headed in another direction. You told me that you grew up without a church, but in high school you were baptized Christian in a Roman Catholic church. And when you were in college, you were preparing to enter a Benedictine monastery.
So yes, I had completed my psychological exams to enter St. Vincent's Archabbey in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. St. Vincent's is also a college, so I thought of my career path as being ordination to the priesthood and academic as perhaps a professor in the college. So to improve my qualifications or the foundation for what I thought would be my future work, I went to Washington, D.C. on an internship program where there were students from all over the country. And one potluck Thanksgiving, I met Diane, and who later became my wife. After meeting her and feeling just swept off my feet, I wrote my spiritual director and said, what do I do now? And he wrote back a very short note and something that I have paid forward many times since. He wrote simply, "You never turn your back on love." So I canceled all my plans. And eventually, Diane and I married, and I became a lawyer. Thinking that I had kind of closed the door on that chapter of my life.
What is your core belief that became the primary driving force leading your church's community outreach programs?
I like to say that we don't take ourselves too seriously. There is a God, and it's not us. So let's just focus on loving as we are loved. So that drives us out into the community to ensure that others feel the warmth of God's love.
The Holy Grail Mobile Feeding Ministry is a signature ministry of St. Nicholas Episcopal Church, where you serve as rector. The mobile feeding program has now served over 62,000 hot meals since it began in 2016. But before you even had a food trailer, the meals were prepared in your church kitchen for those in need at St. Lawrence Chapel's homeless day shelter that was located several miles away. How was that working out?
Well, we sometimes prepared it in the parish hall. We sometimes purchased food to deliver to them. And we would do that one Sunday a month. I would celebrate the Eucharist, and then we would bring in the food to feed everybody. And other churches would take other Sundays, but it was pretty sporadic. There were several days where there weren't the kind of hot, spirit-lifting meals that we wanted to serve. And we would have a lot of homeless individuals stop by here and want something. And we would say, we'd love to help. We've sent most of our resources out to St. Lawrence, which in effect was asking them to walk another 6.5, 7 miles. And we learned that the homeless have an inordinate number of problems, medical problems with their feet, because they're on their feet all the time. So that situation, it wasn't the best. And we began struggling with how we could better address the needs of the homeless. And that's how we began to think of, rather than sending them to a fixed site where they had to walk and all the inconveniences associated with that, why don't we just go to them? And that's how the mobile concept developed.
Approximately how many regular volunteers show up to make all this happen?
I would say that we have somewhere between 17 and 25 on a normal basis.
Tell me more about the volunteers.
The volunteers, now that's where we start talking about angels. They are amazing. It can be hot working particularly in the original food trailer during the dog days of August, but they are out there all of the time and just doing an amazing work. Not only are they serving food, but they're laughing and spending time, social time, with the homeless and food insecure. And I think it's all part of not just feeding bodies, but feeding souls. So it is delightful to see them. Whenever we think of the volunteers, I think of one in particular who was on the vestry when we were debating whether or not to start this ministry. And we had no earthly idea how we were going to pay for it. But, everyone on the vestry seemed to support the idea. And so this particular individual said, okay, well, this will be a consensus decision. We're all going to do this. We're going to step out in faith. To my amazement, she immediately began to volunteer for the Holy Grail. And she's been at virtually every festival to raise money. She serves in the snack bar and bingo to raise money for the Holy Grail. And she is a regular Wednesday morning, often operating on the grill. She has become such a supporter and an active participant in this ministry. Those are the individuals who are truly the angels.
In addition to the Holy Grail, St. Nicholas has several other ministries that provide for those in need. One of them is Holy Provisions.
Yes, Holy Provisions is an attempt to address the food insecurity among low-income individuals and the elderly, as well as low-income families with children. So it consists of two parts, really. On Tuesdays, we will receive shipments of food from various sources, which we break out and arrange on the tables in our parish hall. And then that afternoon, we operate what's essentially a free community market where people can come in, move down the aisles, select foodstuffs, much like if they were grocery shopping. And that's the primary emphasis of Holy Provisions, but we also send the Holy Grill out on the last Saturday of the month to serve hot spirit lifting meals to families, food insecure families with children. That's primarily done at Zion Lutheran in Deerfield Beach.
And tell me about your other programs.
Well, we operate a ministry of hospitality and entertainment for the elderly in our neighborhoods. We operate bingo 2 days a week. We do backpacks, back-to-school backpacks for underprivileged youth at the Deerfield Beach Housing Authority. Every holiday season around Christmas, we prepare what we refer to as blessing bags, which we deliver to the homeless when we're serving meals. Our parish nurse also at least once a week is providing wound care and other care to the homeless. So we try as best we can as one organization to cover several needs. But then we're always looking for other agencies to partner with. We don't pretend to think that we can have all of the answers. We love to partner with others. And the fact that we offer food and some medical care gives us a anchor around which other agencies can gather to offer some continuum of care from time to time.
The Holy Grill recently passed a major milestone with the purchase of a new state-of-the-art food truck that doubles the cooking capacity of the previous food trailer. What are some of the improved features on the new rig?
No, the food truck truly is a blessing. We started out with a used food trailer. We learned a lot about it. In particular, that it wasn't designed or built very well, with a lot of the weight on the tongue, which resulted in a lot of damage, wear and tear on the trailer itself. And it was minimally equipped. It was extremely hot. With this new food truck, which, as you said, doubles our cooking capacity. I mean, whereas in the original food trailer, we had one double basket deep fryer, one griddle, 2-burner gas stove. In the new food truck, we have 2 double basket deep fryers, a double-sized griddle, and 4 burners. Plus, we also have now an oven, in addition to a much larger refrigerator and freezer. And the unit is also equipped with air conditioning, which certainly helps our volunteer crew. It's a very impressive rig, and I'll add one other thing. And the company that helped us, they were just great. Knowing what we do, they said to us that they really support what we do. So they offered, instead of having an industrial generator in the truck, they at no additional cost installed an impressive lithium battery power plant for the truck. So we're quite happy with it. We're thrilled, and it's in operation and doing a wonderful job.
So how is the Holy Grill funded?
Variety of ways. We have been relatively successful in gaining grants, corporate philanthropy grants, from Holman Automotive, from Holy Cross, Polte, from the Episcopal Charities of Southeast Florida, the Order of St. John, the Brotherhood of St. Gregory. So we've got the grants. We have a variety of different individual donors.
And another exciting way in which this ministry is funded is Carmelita di Magdalena, which is a youth string ensemble, or orchestra, if you will, that specialize in Baroque music. And when I tell people, these are just middle school, high school children, they're like, this is cute. But they're phenomenal. I don't know how the director finds this talent year after year, but they are amazing. And they adopted us in 2017. And since then, with the exception of the year of the pandemic, They have done concerts around Broward County and South Palm, and all of the money that they have raised has gone directly to the Holy Grail. They've raised nearly $40,000.
Have you had additional support in the community from other churches or organizations partnering with the Holy Grail?
Yes. Early on, we, as quote unquote the business model, is we chose to partner with other nonprofits so that we could be on private property as opposed to public property. So we've worked with St. Martin's Episcopal Church, St. Stephen's Lutheran Church, Zion Lutheran Church, the Pink Church, the First Presbyterian Church here in Pompano Beach, has I think it's their youth group, prepares sandwiches so that we can, after we've served a warm breakfast, we can give the homeless sandwiches that they can take with them for their lunches. And we've had a variety of community organizations and companies provide us volunteers from time to time.
A few years ago, the Holy Grail ventured into another new arena as a food vendor serving specialty dishes to the public at community events. Which events are they, and what dishes have proven to be the best crowd pleasers?
Well, we started in January 2017 by going to the Florida Keys Celtic Fest, where we served Guinness battered fish and chips and Scotch eggs and bangers and mash. Our Scotch eggs led to us being discovered, if you will, and being invited to be a vendor at the Fort Lauderdale Scottish Festival. And we've had several people from England, Scotland. As a matter of fact, a member of the Scottish band Almanach stopped by this past March when we were in Fort Lauderdale and had one of our Scotch eggs, and he gave us a thumbs up. So I guess that's probably one of our most prominent dishes. But as I said, we serve Guinness battered fish and chips, shepherd's pie, the Scotch eggs, and the bangers and mash.
Mm. And speaking of crowd pleasing, the Holy Grail also has a history of assisting the community in the aftermath of natural disasters. How will the new food truck rise to the occasion when a future need occurs?
Yes, when a hurricane has struck this area, the Holy Grail has been out on the streets the day after. Typically in the past, we have tried to serve hot spirit-lifting meals to people in neighborhoods that have lost their power. We'll continue to do that with a larger capacity food truck, but we also have an industrial size ice machine in the parish hall, and we can quickly bag up lots and lots of ice. So we envision not only getting out on the streets to provide meals, hot meals to residents who've lost their power, as well as to first responders, but also to be able to provide ice and water, which will obviously be much needed in those times.
Has local media been helpful in sharing the story of the Holy Grail and informing the public of this valuable resource?
We've gotten a little coverage. I wouldn't say that we've got a great deal of coverage. It's, I suppose we've focused on just doing it, and perhaps I've been remiss at not promoting it enough.
Well, whatever you're doing the right thing.
Thank you.
And a mutual friend of ours once said, "The poor will always be with us." What is your broader vision for not just comforting the poor, but elevating?
We speak of in the Holy Grail Mobile Feeding Ministry of feeding bodies and souls. There is no religious test either for volunteers or for individuals who come to receive food. We don't turn away anyone, but we're also there. We offer companionship, counsel, prayer. And we even had a parishioner who's very good with woodworking create for us a portable altar. So from time to time, we're out offering the Eucharist for individuals while the breakfast or dinner is being prepared.
Well, Father Mark Andrew, I thank you for your time in telling us about the Holy Grail and other ministries of St. Nicholas. Would you like to add any closing thoughts?
Well, I would say that one of the other driving forces, you asked me earlier about what's one of our core beliefs, and I talked about loving as we are loved. What I would encourage people to understand is that when we do that, when we love as we are loved, we encounter something special with the individuals that we serve. And it's been my experience, it's been the experience of volunteers, that our faith, our sense of presence of God or Christ in our lives is intensified by being with those who are less fortunate. Our Lord spent an awful lot of time with the less fortunate. We can think of just a recent gospel message where Jairus, a very wealthy man, comes to Jesus. His daughter's in grave danger, and Jesus is moving with all due deliberate speed to help Jairus. But then a woman who has been suffering from hemorrhages for 12 years steps out of the crowd. Jesus stops, and he heals her first. And I think that's a message to us, that we need to be out among the marginalized, among the poor, and to care for them. There is enough love to go around. But I think it's important to start with those who are often invisible to many members and leaders in society.
Thank you so much.
And for the tens of thousands of hungry and homeless they have fed over the years, the work done by all those non-angels of the Holy Grail Mobile Feeding Ministry is nothing less than angelic. Again, I wish all of us could have the kind of mystical experience that my friend described, where the gates of heaven open up and some breathtaking creature with wings makes a cameo appearance in our lives, a messenger from God connecting creator and creation and leaving no doubt. But in the meantime, some of our fellow humans come pretty darn close. I came across a quote recently from an Italian writer named Luciano di Crescenzo, who said, "We are each of us angels with only one wing, and we can only fly by embracing one another." Thank you for watching. I'm Tricia Blair, and I encourage everyone to be somebody's angel today. If you would like to contribute to the Holy Grail's work in feeding the hungry and homeless in South Florida, please scan this QR code or visit the website stnicholasfl.org.